Hola clase, hoy vamos a mirar 8.4 que son los superlativos, superlatives in English. So we'll start with the PowerPoint here. Both English and Spanish use superlatives to express the highest or lowest degree of quality. For instance, el la mejor, el la peor, el la más alto, más alta. And you have the English there. So the construction is used that the noun is always preceded by the definite article, and the de is the equivalent of in or of in English, right? So we have el, la, los, las plus the noun plus más o menos plus the adjective plus de. So here are a few examples of that. Well, before we get to specific examples, they show you how the noun can be omitted if the noun is referring to something that's already clear. So for instance, if someone asked, el restaurante Las Delicias, and so we know that we're talking about the restaurant, you can say, es el más elegante de la ciudad, referring to the restaurant. And in English, that would be like saying it's the most elegant one in the city, right? You could say restaurante again, but it's just not necessary. You could say, es el restaurante más elegante de la ciudad. Or over here, it says, recomiendo el pollo asado, es el más sabroso del menú, right? It's the most delicious one on the menu. So notice that when you use más alone, as you guys have, as we've been using, it means more. But when it comes after el, an article, so el, la, los, or las, it means most. Same with menos. Menos can mean less or least. Okay. So for instance, es el café más rico del país, and there you have the English. Or es el menú menos caro de todos estos. So here is a list of some irregular superlative forms from the adjectives, right? So on this side you have the adjective, on this side you have the superlative form, and it's actually the same with English, right? So in the adjective for good is bueno, buena, but the superlative form is el la mejor, right? You don't say the goodest or the most good or something like that. You say the best. So just like in English, it changes from good to the best. So it does in Spanish. So we have malo, mala turns into el la peor, right? Grande, when you're referring to grown or adult, mean you say el la mayor, like the oldest. Pequeño, referring to age, right, goes to el la menor, the youngest. Joven, for young, also goes to el la menor, right? You don't say, yeah, well, it just goes to that. Viejo or vieja for old goes to el la mayor, for the oldest. There's also an absolute superlative, which is equivalent to like extremely or super or very. And in this form, you drop the final vowel if there is one, and you add isimo or isima or isimas. It's acting as an adjective, so it has to agree, right? So for instance, you say el bistec está malísimo. This is just another way to say el bistec está muy malo, right? Or if it can also function as an adverb. So comes muchísimo. So there you would, or you could, that's another way to say comes mucho. Actually, there's not really another way to say that, because you can't say comes muy mucho, right? So this is the way you would say you eat very much. So with these absolute superlatives, there are a few spelling changes. So notice that rico turns into a QU. Okay, so rico goes to riquísimo. Largo, you have to add a G, larguísimo. Feliz turns to a C, felicísimo. The accent goes away, and fácil, so you say facilísimo. Joven, you have to add a C, right? So jovencísimo. Y trabajador, you also add a C, trabajadorcísimo. So you'll see these specific words come up in some activities, so just remember that. It's in your textbook under 8.4. All right, so that's it for the slides. Let's go to a few activities. So we will start with Vale, sí, empecemos con esta actividad. Las instrucciones dicen, empareja las siguientes frases de manera que formen oraciones correctas y lógicas. So as always, I'll give you the options here and you'll pause it and you'll come back when you think you know the answer. All right, so we have any of these beginning. Es la comida más importante del día. Pause. And we're back. So here you would say, las personas dicen que el desayuno es la comida más importante del día. All right, número dos. Aquí están. So they're all the same options, okay? So blank son los más ricos de toda la ciudad. Pause. And we're back. And here we would have los jugos de fruta de este hotel son los más ricos de toda la ciudad. Muy bien. Tres. Pause. And we're back. Here we would say this one. Te recomiendo el atún porque es el menos caro de todos los pescados del menú. Okay? Bien. Cuatro. Pause. And we're back. Here we go. Here's the answer. Como llegué tarde al restaurante, el camarero me ofreció la peor mesa de todas. Okay? So the worst table of all. Okay, número 5, pause. And we're back. Let's see, here we would say, las tres hijas del dueño son camareras, period. Nadia, la mayor de las hermanas, es muy simpática. So the eldest, or the oldest of the three sisters, right? All right, last one, seis. Go ahead and pause. And then here we would say, this one, last one, Ricardo, tienes que probar la chuleta, period. Es el plato más sabroso de todos. All right, so here we had a few examples of superlatives. And we're going to do one more activity here. And it's this one. All right, so let's have a look at the instructions. It says, dice completa las oraciones con el superlativo de las palabras en paréntesis. Okay, so keep in mind the irregular ones, right? Or the adjectives that turn into have irregular or different superlatives. So here we go. Somos tres hermanos. Tengo dos hermanos mayores y yo soy. So we want to say the youngest. Okay. Pause. And we're back. And you would say el o la menor. Right. I'm the young. Not menos. Menor. So depending on your gender, if you're a male, you'd say el menor. If you're female, la menor. I'm the youngest. All right. Número dos. Si entrenas cada día, puedes ser la blank jugadora en tu equipo. So we need to use the word for buena. Pause. And we're back. So here would be la mejor. Right? The best player on the team. La mejor. Bien, tres. El Vaticano tiene una población de solo 770 personas y es el estado independiente pequeño del mundo. Pause. And we're back. So here would just be más pequeño, because it's actually talking about size. So careful there, right? Pequeño. Because remember the irregular, you only use the menor with pequeño when it's referring to age. Okay, so más pequeño. All right, número 4. Como Pablo nunca practica, es el blank músico en la orquesta. So the worst, we want to say, right? Pause. And we're back. So here would be peor. Es el peor música en la orquesta. Okay. 5. El cabello de Verdezuela, that's Rapunzel in English, era blank largo. Okay, remember we have to use the superlative here. And we're back. So here we could say larguísimo. And remember the spell change. We have to put in the G there. Larguísimo, right? So it's very large. Era muy long, excuse me. Very long, okay? Alright, número 6. El bisabuelo de María tiene 102 años y es el blank de su familia. So, viejo. So, the oldest, right? Pause. And we're back. Mayor es el mayor de su familia. Y bisabuela means great-grandfather. Muy bien, clase. That's it for now. So, you can watch this video as many times as you like. And gracias. Adios.